I think that's what it is. We start to believe deeply that there's only one problem and that's us.
Right.
Right? We walk around thinking that it's all because of me. It's because of my weakness. It's because of my flaws. It's because of whatever else it is. And we completely forget that there's anything else to it.
Well, because then also if you're like, well, that's not because of me. Like when people say it also in that way, they're like, well, like if everyone says that whatever, then it has to be you too. So there's that fine line.
There is a fine line.
In that for sure. But I think when you're just aware and when you're solid in yourself, I really do think it's okay to release those things. And if you are doing the work, and the work doesn't have to be therapy, like with an actual therapist, if you have a group of friends and if those people really are unbiased and not judgmental and you can go to that, do that. For me, I really enjoy writing. It's not for people to see. It's a form of expression for me. And I feel like I'm really getting this energy out of my system.
Wow.
And sometimes I'll write and I'm like, I'm tearing this up so no one ever sees it. And I don't even know what I'm going to start writing. I'm like, I just got to get this on from pen to paper. It's such a release. And sometimes that's the quote therapy that I need or the conversation that I need. A lot of the times it's the gym, it's whatever. But once I get to that point that I'm like, okay, a light bulb goes off. I'm like, yes, I could have done things differently, but I'm not the reason why this happened to me. Like there's really no excuse for certain behavior.
Yeah.
But yes, I probably could have handled things differently or saw things differently. But, I think people have to be fair and not just play the victim, but not also play that they're this champion and this crusader. There definitely has to be, there's a good and bad to all of us, if we want to admit it or not.
Absolutely. And I think it's being able to accept that I was weak, but I am not weak, right? There's a difference in that language, even in the way you're speaking about it. There's a difference in I made a mistake versus I am a mistake.
Exactly.
And I think as soon as it becomes internalized to believe that that's who I am, that's who I've always been, and I won't be anything else, then we don't allow ourselves to say no. It's almost like looking back at an outfit of yours and going, God, I don't know why I was wearing that, right?
Right.
And you're like, why did I wear that? Like those two things don't even go together.
Right.
But you're not your clothes.
Right.
So you forgive yourself and you go, okay, that was a bad day and I'll wear something else today and I can make sure that
and
it
you're
matches
able
me.
to laugh about it.
Exactly.
Yes. And the same sentiment should be held for our past mistakes. Like, haven't you ever done anything and then it mortified you where you were so angry at yourself and then 5 years later you will hysterically laugh about it with your wife or whatever?
Yeah, and that's the best.
Yes, and that's how I think most of our failures, mistakes in life should be. Sure, at the moment, they're horrible and they make you feel really bad. But how beautiful is it when you have so much growth from that and you're a completely different person in a beautiful way. And then you look back and you can laugh at that, at something that made you sob, cry in a corner and you were, in a fetal position. You didn't want to see anyone. And then you're like, no, okay, I had a bad moment.
Yeah.
It's not a bad life and I could move on and be stronger and better. But sometimes we let those moments consume us and we never get out of them. And for me, that's a place that I never want to be because I felt like I was in that for a few years. And that was scary to me because I've never been in a dark place for that long, of a place of shame and guilt and all of that. And then finally, I just said to myself, okay, enough. No one wants to be around someone when you're like, how's your day? Fine. And not that I was that person, but internally I felt like I was that person. I love being happy and joyful and like life is so great if you look for the good.
You just hit on something that's really important. I think a lot of people kind of get into that lull, like that feeling of a long period of, I don't see light at the end of a tunnel. And was it like that for you? I mean, you're so committed to the work, whether it's your prayer, your journaling. We were just talking earlier when you came in about how you need a few hours every week just by yourself.
Yes.
And that's a practice that you've maintained with children, with your businesses, with your responsibilities, that carving out that time is so important to you. Talk to me about that, about like how much the work helped you even in the darkest times? Were you able to maintain it, or?
I mean, the work is what got me out of the darkest times. I think it's really easy to turn to God or whoever your higher being is. It's really easy to turn there when you're in this low time and like, get me out. And, and you just think magically they're going to send you a ladder and like pull you out of this ditch. But yes, he will maybe give you signs and tools, but you have to do the work. He can give you the recipe, but you got to put all the cake mix and everything together and bake the cake. And I think so many times people expect it just like to be magic. Get me out of there. And they don't want to do the work because the work is scary. Being alone is scary with the self-reflection and writing and all that. Like, because when you're like, oh, I have to face myself. And that seems a little daunting. And people like to distract and not come to terms with who they are. For me, and again, being in my 20s, I did a lot of distracting. It's fun to distract, especially at that age, and you don't have kids and you can do whatever. And so I remember that after my divorce, or even when my dad died when I was 19, I remember going out every night because I was an avoidant. Let me avoid these feelings. If I'm not feeling them, they're not happening. Well, that didn't work too well. I remember losing all my hair, gaining so much weight, hyperventilating, like when I would be alone. When I got a divorce, very similar. Let me go out, let me party, drink, hang out with new guys. What does that get me? I realized, okay, these ways of coping didn't work for so many years that when this time happened, and maybe a little help of COVID, it was around 2021, 2022, but still things were still sort of locked down a little bit. And I just said, no, I'm not going to date anyone. And now I have kids too. I'm not going to a club. Like, what am I doing? But having to face myself and intentionally be alone, intentionally do the work, intentionally every day I wake up at 5 a.m. because I need that alone time to have my coffee, do my prayers, listen to my Bible app, like whatever it is that makes you whole. I need that. And I know when I don't have that, how different my day feels. I like to set my intentions for the day or my workouts, the clarity I get, just whatever it is. Everyone's going to be different. If you need to be outside, you have to decide that. But it did take me a long time of doing other things and seeing how horrible those things served me for me to find, okay, this I like. And yes, it's easy for me to go and date a man and be an avoidant and distract these real feelings. But then what? The same thing is probably going to happen to me again because I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm just willy-nilly going through life. And what? Because somebody's cute or this, I'm not paying attention to the core of people and even to the core of myself. And I just started listening to myself and finding the things that really made me feel whole, but alone. And I know so many of my friends cannot be alone because they don't want to hear their own thoughts. They don't want to start working on themselves. And I'm not judging that, but I know how amazing it is to be alone with myself and to like who I am.